Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Saturday, June 29th. Almost the end of the month. Most of you guys are probably getting ready for your July 4th, right? So, I've been doing haying as well as working. So, I'll catch up with the comments and replies today, hopefully, because it rained last night. But I want to talk about today, kind of the old gift of you're only as old as you feel. And you, Tinker, this morning I caught your comment about your mom. Love it. I love your mom. But we're going to talk about that. So hang tight. All right, so welcome back. Yes, it is. It's Saturday. And we do the weekday Monday through Friday. And I try to get the stuff out by 7, and it's available on podcast as well. But today is the weekend where I tend to, you know, pick a topic that might not be related exactly to our professions, but might help somebody out. And the biggest thing, and Tinker, you gave me the topic for today, and that is you're only as old as you feel. And what ends up happening, you know, I've seen people at 83 have more gumption, ambition, and doing more stuff than somebody in their 30s. Somebody in their 30s constantly complaining their muscles ache, their body aches, their back hurts, this, that. A lot of it, honest to God, is stress. Stress and not being physically active. But stress more so than not. And why do I say stress? I mean, it happens to the best of us, all right? And the ones that turn out really well are the ones that can identify it and get rid of it. And what do I mean by that? Well, that comes with time, experience, gains you wisdom, right? When I was younger, I had a hard time dealing with stress. And a lot of it was my own self inflicted stress. Yeah. I mean, just stressing over crap that didn't amount to anything. But at the time, I thought it was really important. And, you know, the biggest thing, stress can affect the body, okay? And when you become stressed, your muscles tense. And the longer you're stressed, the longer your muscles are tense. And it's worse than having a workout, a terrible workout in the gym, right? So what ends up happening is your body is reacting to all that stress and all that tenseness in your body. And it starts to show up, You're kind of slunched over, and, you're not standing up straight. Like Grandma used to say, posture is everything. And everything compounds. And what do I mean by that? I mean, all right, you start out with a stressor in the morning, something that could be self inflicted, could be, maybe you hate your job, but you got to go to work. So you got the stress of getting up, getting something for breakfast, getting to work on time, and you get there. So you got that self inflicted stress, right? And then you get to work and you realize that you forgot something at home. So now you added some more stress. You didn't get rid of the first stress, it's still there. Now you've compounded it by adding another stressor. And as you add those stressors, the easier it becomes to spot more crap to pile on. And after a while of piling this on, you start having the feeling of ready just to give up, that you can't take anymore. Well, why did you do it in the first place? Because you didn't know how to get rid of stress. You just allowed it to compound on. Some self-inflicted, some could be work-related. A coworker says something that bothers you, you know, the boss gets on your case for something you forgot to do yesterday. It goes on, and it doesn't quit at the end of the day. You're like, oh, thank God it's over. But it's not if you haven't gotten rid of that stress. And you could call it, getting rid of stress. You can call it getting rid of baggage. Either way, it just keeps getting heaped up. And my grandfather taught me when I was young, the best way to deal with stress is to take care of that problem, nip it in the bud, and move on. So take a look at the stress. You got to be able to identify it first, right? What is the stressor that's going on right now? What is bothering me? And then take a good look at it. Is there anything I can do about it right now? Is there anything I can do about it at all? If there is, do it, get rid of it. If it's self-inflicted, where you just wake up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning, you have to be able to identify that and say, look, come on, I don't need this for today, and get rid of it. For some, they never learn that. And like I say, I've seen 30 and 40-year-olds act like 90-year-olds. Yeah. Because they haven't learned that wisdom yet. And it's not because they haven't had enough time and experience. They're not learning from their experiences. Because a lot of times what you end up doing, right, is you keep doing it over and over again. And when you find that you have fewer good days in a week than bad, that tells me that you are the one stressing yourself. You're the one piling it on. And you're the only one that can get rid of it. Nobody can abracadabra snap it out. Identify it. Is there something you can do about it? Do it. If not, leave it alone. Let dead dogs lie, right? And like I say, some people never learn. And the reason they haven't learned most often these days is no one has taught them how to deal with stress. Nobody's teaching anybody anything. And a lot of it I attribute to things becoming impersonal, okay? Everybody's got their nose glued to their phone, laptop, iPad, and not having good social skills of communicating back and forth in person with others. That's a stressor in itself. Because with me, as I've stated numerous times in other videos, is I value relationships, okay? And the hardest relationship to have is someone that is texting you or messaging you or emailing you. And why is that? Because you can't tell the tone of their voice, their posture, and you could read stuff into things that isn't there, that was never meant to be that way, but you read it that way. And you're like, what the hell? And while we're on that topic, you guys with your phones, texting, learn to spell. Everybody's shortening everything. I don't know all these short, WTF, what the. I mean, just spell it out so I can understand what you're saying to me. All right. So the other thing that I see, and the worst ones are the ones that cannot find anything positive about anything or anybody. And you are easily identified to me because you're the one complaining about your job. You hate your job. And you've gotten a different job like every other year. And every job you go to is the same thing. You hate your job. And what I tell my friends and family that are like that, I say, look, no matter where you go, you cannot run from yourself. Take my son. My son, a lot of times, he's complaining about work, that he hates it. He's complaining about living in New York. He wants to move out to another state. Complaining about other people that he hates. But if you read into it by what he's telling you, you're like, what? But if you've been around on this planet for a long enough time and you recognize some of the traits that he has, you had when you were younger. Because when I was younger than him, I had that where it would be weeks and months of just that crap, all right? And it wasn't that he hates his job. He just hates going to work. It isn't because he hates living in New York. He just feels like that's got to be part of the problem. And hating other people, he doesn't hate other people. It bothers him that other people are enjoying life and he's not. And the biggest thing I try to tell him, to teach him, because with time you get experience, but if you don't look at your experiences, the good and the bad, you're not going to gain wisdom. And you can keep doing the bad over and over and over again, getting the same result. Because you're not changing anything. The key is you. That's the key. Is you have to change. And as I explained to him, no matter where you go, son, you cannot run away from yourself. You are self-inflicting all this crap on yourself. It's attitude. You can't run from yourself if you take on a new job because you've done that and you complain bitterly about every job you've held. New York isn't the one bothering you in the state. You think if you move to another state that things are going to change for the better, and they don't. So what's the pivotal point in all of this? It's you. And whether you're having an off day, an off year, an off decade, you have to get to the experience, understand that everything is in your control. And people can't make you feel a certain way. And most often the case, if you feel that way of what somebody said, you've been thinking it right along, and they just basically, strengthen that point of how you already felt anyways. But that's one of the things that I tell people. When I hear them whining about, well, Joe Schmo said this and it hurt my feelings, and I'm like, what? What? Well, they hurt my feelings. How did they hurt your feelings? Honest to God, how did they hurt your feelings? Well, it's because of something they said. Okay. But how did that hurt your feelings? See, no one can control of how you feel. That's you. Nobody else can make you feel anything other than what you want to feel. People can say derogatory things, but it's all in how you determine what to do about it, right? If someone were to call me an asshole, well, some days I am. But most days I'm not. But why should I let that person bother me with telling me I'm an asshole? Let him think what he wants. I know the real me. And I'm not going to waste 1 minute thinking about what Joe Schmo said. He has the right to say whatever he wants. Right? So the key, it comes back to you. Everything is within your control. So when you find yourself starting to stress, or you're getting in one of those moods where you hate everything, just stop. Stop right there. Whatever you're doing, just stop. If you're driving, pull over to the side of the road. Don't stop in the road. Identify what it is that's bothering you the most. And you got to put it in a column. Is it something I can do about it right now? If it's self-inflicted, you can. You can just say, look, enough is enough. And I know that this stuff here is stuff that I just pile on, and it's my fault. Own it. And that I'm not going to let it bother me today. You've bothered me the last couple of days with it. I'm not going to be bothered with it today. Get rid of it. So if it's something you can do about it, do. If you left the house and you and your son or daughter or something had an argument, send a text. I'm sorry we had an argument, but don't worry about it. Let's deal with it at a different time or when I get home. Done. Because she or he is probably stewing too and putting stress on from the argument that you two had that morning. All right? So if you can do something about it, do it. Then comes the second column. Is if there's nothing you can do about it, is it self-inflicted or is it real? And is it something that needs to take up most of your day today? Or is it something you can deal with tomorrow? Or something that there's no way to deal with it? Because if you don't take control of what's going on with yourself, then there's no way to deal with it, right? And the tendency is to blame other people and not take or accept. What's the right word here? Jason's always good at this. To accept responsibilities for your actions and inactions. It's always somebody else. And what I try to tell people is when you say it's somebody else is doing this or this or this, that takes the control out of your hand, right? And what you're doing is you're just skirting responsibility of dealing with it. Because if somebody else is doing something, then how can you fix it? How can you get better? If that makes any sense. So I'm going to start wrapping this up for the day. It's how to de-stress from everyday stresses. You first have to identify it and decide how you want to feel about a certain thing. Now, today you can change your lifestyle. You either get to be grumpy, pissed, and stressed to death, or you can have a positive outlook and have a good day and enjoy yourself. It's all within your control. It's all how you want to feel. That cup half full, half empty. I can tell you that once you distress the stressors and you own things yourself, and your ability to spot it and deal with it quickly will have you in a better place, enjoying life, enjoying other people's company, and seeing the good things in other people and things that are going on around you instead of crap. All right, so you guys enjoy your Saturday. We'll catch you here, probably tomorrow morning on the Sunday sermon. Thanks for watching.